Hello and welcome back to the Talking Fantasy Baseball podcast for our 30th episode. I'm your host, Eric Henriksen, and here with me is my partner in crime, Josh Day. Josh, how you doing?
Pretty good. Ready to get back to talking fantasy baseball for the second half.
Here we go. It's the dog days of summer. It's hot, humid, and the balls were dumped over the fence in the home run derby earlier this week as Cal Raleigh continued his Cinderella season. And just like Cinderella, the dumper fit the seat. Terrible joke, sorry. But I just wanted to fit in so much dumper talk, okay, because this guy has just been phenomenal all year.
Yeah.
And so little bit of Cal Raleigh appreciation, some dumper appreciation, if you will. I just wanted to also say thank you to everyone for your patience as we took a little mini break here in the middle of the season. I know we were supposed to come back last week with a new episode, but there were some circumstances where that couldn't work out. But that's okay. We're back now, and we are here to talk fantasy baseball and get you ready for the stretch run to the playoffs. In order to help you make a run for that championship, we're at the ceremonial halfway point. The All-Star break was this week. We had our own little All-Star break, as I just mentioned. And games are set to resume for the second half today. We are recording this on Friday, July 18th. So what a better time than today to do a first half, second half themed show. So we're going to do barrels, bombs, and BS, but we got a slightly altered take on it than we've done in the past. So today we're going to give you 3 players each who in the first half was either great and will continue to be great. That's a barrel. One who was bad and will continue to be bad. That's a bomb. And one who was just total BS and will experience regression in some way, whether that's a turning point and getting better or just going to turn and go down and fall down the hill. So positive and negative regression in the second half for the BS players. And we'll also give you one sleeper hitter and a sleeper pitcher for the second half as well, because that doesn't really fit into the barrels, bombs, and BS section. So I think just giving a sleeper would be great. So like I said, barrels, bombs, and BS, a new take on it, and a sleeper coming at you for the second half. And before we get to that, just a friendly reminder, we release new episodes twice each week. Our full feature-length episode on Fridays, sometimes Saturdays, and Tuesdays with our shorter news and notes episode we call the Midweek Minutes. So be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. We're available on all major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and the Odyssey app. And leave us a 5-star rating, a like, a thumbs up, a kind review. It all goes a long way to help in helping us out. So Josh, here we go. Barrels, bombs, and BS. All right, first up, we have our barrels, players who have been great in the first half and will continue to be great as we move into the second half of the season. Ceremonial, that is. Teams are at somewhere between 86 and 90 games, so just over the game's halfway point. Ceremonial, halfway point. Josh, who is your barrel for a player who's been great and will continue to be great?
I felt like I wanted to choose somebody that might be actionable. I think I would say somebody like James Woods. Um, I think he's been phenomenal, and I think he will continue to be phenomenal, and I think he will be phenomenal for years to come.
Yes.
But there is really nothing you can do unless you are the owner. I guess you could buy high, but that's for another show. So yeah, I wanted to pick someone that I wanted to highlight someone that may be available on your wire. If in case you need, in this case, third base, in case you need a fill in, you have like Austin Riley and you need to plug somebody in. And that is Cam Smith of the Houston Astros. I just think he's showing his promise of his great contact ability, and it's starting to translate to power. And, I don't know how much speed he's going to give. And I think, some of the comparisons to Alec Boehm are kind of on the money. And you might think, oh, Alec Boehm, that's not that exciting. But Cam Smith is very young and he can, he still has room to grow. That said, I think, he could be a really good replacement for like an Austin Riley. That said, I think this is kind of a a 3-for-1 here. But that said, if you do need speed, I would say that Noelvi Marte. I think he might be could be a better power speed source. I know he's been a little up and down in his career so far, but I think he's shown some signs of life, and he is just off the IL. And I think he definitely take a flyer on him if you need speed and power. And then if you just need power, Addison Barger I think could also be a good pickup. I know he sometimes sits against lefties, but if you're in a daily league, he can be plugged in at third and outfield. So yeah,
Great. Yeah,
those are my barrels.
I I like Cam Smith to make the adjustment in the long run that Alec Boehm has refused to make, which is hit the ball in the air
Right.
more. I like Noelvi Marte to break out big time in the second half. And then Addison Barger, I think his predictive stats are just so good. At some point,
Yeah.
he's just going to have a hot streak, and the Blue Jays won't be able to even semi-platoon him like they're doing now. So I like all three of those picks there. 3 picks for third base, very good. And then I will pick. I wanted to pick someone who we haven't really talked about much, but that we did talk about at the very beginning of this season. Uh, Not so much actionable, but just to give him some props, and that's Zach Neto. He's been fantastic when he's on the field. Uh, I know he missed the first couple weeks with that shoulder injury that he was recovering from surgery for in the offseason, but he's been on such a fantastic pace. He's hitting the ball harder this year. Yes, he's swinging and missing a little bit more, but it's coming with increased power. I think the speed has not gone away. He's got 30-30 upside. He's been on a 30-30 pace all season with a 280 plus batting average and an 800 plus OPS. I just think Zach Neto's been fantastic, and I think he will continue to be fantastic despite playing for one of the worst organizations in the sport.
Such a shame. Such a shame.
It is. It is. Hashtag free Zach Neto, because we'll never get a free Mike Trout.
No, never.
Moving right along over to our bombs. Players who were bad and will continue to be bad. I'm going to take this one first because I don't think it will come to anyone's surprise who your pick is.
Oh, yeah. Well, put a bow on it.
Why not? I'm going to pick. I've got 2 names listed here, so I'll get to both of them. But the first one I'm going to mention is Brenton Doyle. Brenton Doyle plays for Colorado. He had a very good season last year. He got off to a decent enough start this season, but then I believe his wife and him, they lost their unborn child. So it was very obviously sad and impactful moment in his life, and he just has not been very good since then. I in this instance, it's bigger than baseball. To take a somber note here, it does not matter what his expected stats are. It does not matter what he's done so far this season. To have such a tragic event in your life, that's going to impact you for a little bit. And I just think this is going to be a lost season for Brenton Doyle.
Yeah.
He's already started to sit a little bit more, and because he's a human being. So I'm just going to chalk this up to a lost year for Brenton Doyle. And I think, next year, come back strong and maybe provide what everyone thought he was going to this season and look like he was going to provide in the first month. And then my second pick is someone who's just been totally lost coming back from Tommy John surgery. And maybe he didn't have as much leeway as some of these other guys. Maybe he wasn't dealing with as much margin of error, I think is the term I was looking for. And that's Sandy Alcantara. Sandy has been abysmal.
Yeah.
There was a moment there where everyone thought he was turning it around,
Yep.
but
Myself included.
turns out he wasn't. He can't locate. He's got no command. He's got no control. It's just he is probably very mechanically off. And I was never the biggest Sandy guy beforehand. But when your ERA is like north of 6 or 7, wherever it is, it's not good.
Yeah.
He'd have to get really hot just to make his numbers look acceptable at the end of the season, but I just don't see it. He's going to get traded, and I don't care where he's traded to. He's if he's even tradable, I just don't see it for Sandy this year. I feel again lost season, come back next year maybe, but he's got to show something in spring training.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would maybe take a late flyer on him next season. I think this is actually a common thing for a lot of pitchers coming back from Tommy John. And yeah, he's one of the worst, my least favorite types of pitchers right now, which is one that he's his own worst enemy.
Yeah,
Like if his stuff isn't working, it does not matter what who he's facing. He could face the White Sox or the Rockies. He doesn't know how to locate, then it's just going to be a nightmare start. Really short, a lot of yeah. So I just stay away. I'm not even sure I'll really look at him, doubt him on the wire anymore. It's just, I think.
yeah. And I'll say this about Sandy: he didn't have great swing and miss stuff
That's right.
before the injury. So
Yeah.
now, if you're dealing with diminished stuff, you're looking at what's happening. So, like I said, I think his margin of error was very slim, and
Yeah.
you're seeing what happens when you miss that little window that you got. But
Yeah.
now let's go over to you for your bomb a player who was bad and will continue to be bad. Who's your bomb, Josh?
Yeah, to nobody's surprise, since I've complained about him all season now, is Michael Harris. So I don't know. I just felt like, mid ceremonial, midpoint. Let's just put a bow on it. Yeah, I think this is the lost season for him. And quite frankly, I'm not sure he's really going to be fantasy relevant in this landscape moving forward. Because he just, I don't think he's like a 200 hitter. The expected stats right now is like 250, but like he's not hitting the ball with any sort of authority. So it's just like, where's the power? He's just like, he should be hitting higher up in that lineup, but he's buried at the bottom. I don't see it. Like, I think there are just so many more intriguing sources of speed and power, and this is just, I don't know. It's like
Is he
it's
Jason
slot.
Hayward 2.0?
Maybe.
Guy who bursts onto the scene, is fantastic for a couple years, and then just completely falls apart.
I mean, whatever. Looking at its fan graphs, like future value, like whatever that means to anybody.
Juan
But
Soto, future
he was
value.
right. Well, he was only like, I mean, Juan Soto, but he's only valued at 50, which is, it's
Average,
good, average.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe he just had a hot rookie season and flamed out. I don't know.
It's entirely possible that he peaked early. So we can look at predictive stats and we can look at performance and all that. But what we don't see and we will never hear is work ethic.
That's right.
Right? So maybe he just doesn't have the work ethic. There are guys all the time burst onto the scene and then they flame out because they get a payday and that's it. And they're good. And I'm not saying Michael Harris is that, but I am warning that this could be Jason Hayward 2.0. So
Yeah.
maybe just
Yeah.
he's going to fall way down draft boards next year. I don't see this
Oh,
turning
yeah.
around either.
I mean, I think even if you look at his owner, like his roster ownership in Yahoo is completely cratered. So I think most
Rightfully
people
so.
are out. I mean, I dropped him.
Yeah.
Just his dead weight.
I moved on
You
from
know?
him too in the 12 team when somebody dropped
That's
him.
right.
I picked him up and I was like, not happening. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Michael Harris, Britton Doyle, Sandy Alcantara are our bombs for the first half, and bombs we're saying for the second half as well. And now moving on to BS. Players whose performances were a mirage, for good or for bad, with regression incoming, because Josh, you know what I say. Regression comes for us all.
That's right.
Good or bad. Josh, who is your BS player of the first half?
My BS player for the first half is, I think he's AL Rookie of the Year favorite right now,
I would
which
say so.
I just can't really believe. I'd go for one of his teammates over him.
Fair.
But that is the Jacob Wilson. I don't really get it. I know he was hot for the first part of the season, but to me, he's hitting 330, but it's like that is so hard to hit that for a whole season. And his expecting batting average is 380, which is great, but that's not 330. And he doesn't hit the ball very hard at all. So I just feel like this just seems like I feel like we get one of these guys. One of these guys crops up like every other year, where it's either like Stephen Kwan or Luis Arias, and everyone's just like, "Oh my God, this these players." But at the end of the day, it's like we just kind of get enamored in like the what ifs. I think it's like, wow, Stephen. I think even like was it this season? Stephen Kwan like was like on a power
Yeah.
binge. I don't know if it was this season or last season, but it was like Stephen Kwan was on a power binge, and the industry was like, "Oh my God, he, he's hitting for power now, and like he's gonna hit over 300," and like those, that turned into the power turned into a mirage. Um, and Luis Arias is just like, yeah, he was great for like part of a season, I think,
Hmm.
and but then just doesn't really offer a whole lot else. And I think that is the case with Jacob Wilson. I think he can hit for a good average, but I just don't. Would I would not bet on him as a power or speed source. So then and he's also playing for kind of like a team, like a young team that's gonna go through like really highs and lows. So it's like, well, what is that gonna do for him? So I would sell. I would not feel comfortable with him as my starting shortstop if I was contending. So I would definitely try and upgrade. In fact, in our 10-team league, I
Oh
tried to
God.
offer CJ Abrams to him, the guy that had Wilson. I wasn't trading for Wilson, but like I think I made like a pretty like obvious duh trade, but the guy was like, "This is my guy" or something like,
You
because I think
traded
he
a
cheats.
first round pick for Jacob Wilson.
And I was just like,
Ugh.
buddy, come on. I'm giving you like
I'm telling you what you're doing
CJ
wrong.
Abrams. Like he's gonna give you power and speed and hit. Like he's not gonna hit 300, but like, come on. Like, but
Yeah.
so yeah, I would sell. I would sell on Jacob Wilson.
So yes, I agree. Jacob Wilson is an obvious sell high candidate. All of the indicators
Yeah,
are
two
below his current performance.
2% barrel percentage.
Nope, not good.
85 mile an hour
Uh
average exit velocity. Yeah,
he's like
no,
he's like basically
no thanks.
and unfortunately he's not part of the show. Not unfortunately he's not part of the show, but he's like what would happen if Matt Shaw got hot.
Oh yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. And we just these guys just they don't impact the ball enough to make any sort of fantasy contribution. Now, IRL in real life, sure, but not in fantasy. So
Yeah.
I think sell high. I agree with you. Complete mirage, regression incoming on the bad side for Jacob Wilson.
I think it's actually started. I think
Yeah,
he's
probably
been
has.
pretty cold.
Yeah.
I think leading into the All-Star break. But yeah, anyway, so high.
Moving on to my BS players. Now, I could not pick one. If you look at our rundown, I have
So
1, 2,
many to
3,
choose
4,
from.
5. I have 6 players listed here.
Ay,
Uh,
ay, ay.
Do I rip Pete Crow Armstrong to shreds again?
Oh,
I don't know
well,
about that.
we might get a really angry fan base.
We might. All right, so I won't touch PCA. Do I talk about Geraldo Perdomo? I think that one is not interesting enough to begin with. I think he's just a
Yeah.
performer.
Yep.
I would say, regression is incoming for Geraldo Perdomo. We'll move on
I
from
would,
that.
yeah, I would agree.
And now here's where it starts to get interesting. This next guy, maybe not so much, but he's been. Everyone seems to love him for some reason. Maybe it's the name. Jansen Junk.
Hey,
Not
still
gonna.
waiting for that Jansen Junk Dylan Dingler showdown.
Yeah, right. I don't think there's anything there. So
don't either.
moving on from Junk. And the last 3 names here, I think, are way more interesting. Joe Adele, Mackenzie Gore, and Mookie Betts. Let's start with Mookie because we talked about him a lot at the beginning of the year because he had the
Illness.
the illness, yep, that cost him to lose muscle mass. I think this might just be a lost season for
Mhm.
Betts. He'll still be more serviceable than most players. He's got triple eligibility on Yahoo. I am not panicking about Mookie. I also think he's super talented and can just overcome things. So I think he'll have a better second half than he did in the first half. So I think his poor performance is a mirage. That being said, I don't think he's going to be vintage Mookie Betts this season, but I think he'll be fine next year with a healthy offseason. Mackenzie Gore has shown signs of regression. He's been so good, but his K rate has fallen lately. And so I worry about that. So I do think Mackenzie Gore is like a top 15 pitcher is not, that's the mirage. Like, I think he's more top 30.
I kind of wonder if we're gonna see trends with him like we have in the past. Maybe not
Yeah.
as maybe not as extreme
Sure.
as he matures as a pitcher, but maybe he's just prone to these ups and downs, these fluctuations throughout the season.
Sure.
So maybe this is just something to kind of expect with him.
Sure. And then the guy I think I really wanted to talk about was Joe Adell. Because we have gotten fooled so many times by Joe Adell. And I'm just going to say what we're seeing is like the fanciest, nicest looking mirage that we can. We are walking the desert. We are dehydrated. And off in the distance, we see the trees and water. And then as we get closer, it seems more real and real. And then once we are actually there, it doesn't exist. And I think that's exactly what Joe Adell is here. I think the regression has started. And I think we're going to go back to vintage Joe Adell. The track record is just too long of him
I don't
being
know.
so mediocre.
I slightly disagree. Like, I don't think he's like a superstar like we thought he would be maybe 2 or 3 seasons ago. Kind of think he might be a 30 homer, uh, you know, 230, 240 hitter, with not a lot of steals, like maybe 10 steals.
Sure.
I could see that for him going forward. I
I'm
guess evaluate that as you will
sure.
for your teams, but I think that could be a possibility.
I'm looking at his swinging strike rate. It's 13.8%, which is high. His overall contact percentage, 73.5%. That's a career high by half a percentage point. Man, I see
Like,
the improvement.
what if he's Adam Duvall?
Okay, that's nice. Nice comp. I like that. I could see that. Okay. That's a useful player when he's hot and
Exactly.
a droppable player when he's not. I could see that. And I am well aware I'm saying this as he has a 290 expected batting average. Okay. I just don't
Wow,
think there's
XDA
yeah,
399. Jeez.
there is no way he's going to even come close to that. I'm sorry. I just don't know.
Yeah.
No, I might be going against everything that I preach, which is look at the numbers, believe the numbers. But he has not shown it ever. He's 26. He's been around since 2020. We've heard about Joe Adell since he was 18. So it's like, no. I'm not buying it. I think this is the fanciest mirage in all of fantasy baseball, and I would not buy in at all. That being said, his numbers look like Addison Barger's.
Yeah, I'm mostly there with you. I just think maybe he has taken a step. I don't know how useful that is. I think it's league dependent and your needs dependent, but I think he could be he could be a 20 to 30 homer, 230, 240 bat for a crappy team.
Oh man, that organization. All right, next up we have sleepers. Someone who can make an impact in the second half that you might not see coming. Or maybe you do. Josh, who you got as a sleeper in the second half?
Well, I got two for you. Number Now, I'm not sure the first one is exactly a sleeper because he
We're
was a
pushing
very,
the
very,
boundaries of the
yeah,
definition.
very highly regarded and anticipated call-up, which is Roman Anthony of the Boston Red Sox. However, like most big rookie promotions, he hasn't, he hasn't hit like 10 home runs in a week, or he hasn't made like a lot of loud noise. But I think what he's doing under the hood is exactly what you want to see from him. I think he's displaying his his elite hit tool. He has a very low chase rate, and he hits the ball extremely hard.
Oh yeah.
Uh, 93.8 average exit velocity, tied with Matt Olson. And when he does lift the ball, he hits it like almost like just really hard, like Aaron Judge level
Yeah.
numbers. I will say, I think in the early goings, he might be a little too passive at times. And he's kind of running into kind of like the James Woods, or James Wood, issue, which is he puts the ball on the ground too much. But I do believe, this could correct in time, and I think probably sooner than later.
Yeah.
So if I would feel around, maybe he was dropped because he's not setting the world on fire, in like a redraft league, or maybe like if you're interested, just hit up the owner and see how maybe the owner is frustrated and wants, uh, is maybe would look to move on. But I would definitely buy Roman Anthony.
He's available in 44% of Yahoo leagues. Like,
He
go pick
is.
him up.
What?
Why is he that available?
He
That's
should like
ridiculous.
what?
Yeah. If this
Okay,
guy,
yeah.
yeah.
So pick him up, people.
Ugh. It's so frustrating because yes, sure, he's got 2 home runs. He's got 2 stolen bases, but you know how quickly that's going to correct if he just like increases the launch angle by this much? I
Yeah.
know you can't see. If you're listening to this, you can't see my fingers are really close together.
Yeah.
So I 100% agree with you there. He is a sleeper, and not again pushing the boundary of the definition of sleeper because, like you said, highly touted coming into the season,
Highly touted.
and the talent is very clearly there. Like
Yeah.
he's going to be special. James Wood has made the correction. The last thing for James Wood is now he needs to pull the ball in the air more, but he hits the ball in the air the other way and he hits it ridiculously hard.
Yeah. I no notes.
No notes.
Do you. You cook,
Roman Anthony will get there too, and he might have a James Wood level impact in the second half, like James Wood did last season.
Yeah, I would definitely I guess buy low on him or pick him up for nothing. Like, just put him on your bench. Like, I'm sure you've got somebody you can drop for him.
If
Like,
you
come
have
on.
Ian Happ,
Yeah,
drop Ian Happ for
yeah,
Roman Anthony. Ian Happ is like 90% owned.
yeah.
Drop him for Roman Anthony. But you have one more name as a sleeper for the second half, and someone who I think was a breakout candidate in
Yes,
the
I think
beginning
he
of the
was.
season.
There was a lot of buzz for him, and mysteriously, it has all disappeared. And that is Jordan Westberg of the Baltimore Orioles. Yeah, he was mired with injury for the first half of the season, but he's come back. I think he's mostly healthy now, and he's been producing. And just looking at his numbers, it very similar to what he was doing last season. Maybe striking out a smidge more, but he's actually walking more. His ISO is up. Um, so I expect power and speed. And I think the Orioles, I have to believe they're going to be better than they were. I don't think they're contending, but there's there's too much talent on that team. Also, he's second base eligible as well as third base eligible. Now we were talking about this before the show, but it's just like, okay, so he was mired with injury in the first half. The industry was like in love with him to start the season, and now like when you look at rankings um across various sites, he's like not he's outside the top 10 of second base, and I'm shocked. I'm so shocked that everyone is just out on him. Now I understand he's injured. I guess he could re-aggravate something, but this guy looks like he's who he was last season. So like I'm just shocked. The hype, died away. So I guess I'm bringing this up as the sleeper because it seems like everyone's sleeping on him. He was
Yeah.
dropped. He was dropped in our 10 or 12 team league.
He was. He was.
I
I'm mad I didn't get him in that
I,
instance.
I'm actually I'm a little shocked you didn't because I
No,
had a lower wave.
no, you had higher in that one
I did.
because I put in a
Oh, I
waiver
thought
for him. Yeah. You had higher than me on that one because I probably wasted it on someone like Will Warren.
But anyway, I would say, if he's been dropped or he's just wasting away on someone's, it seems like people are out on him, so I would definitely buy in a good way.
Yeah, I don't understand why. I mean, he was going top 60, top 80 to start in draft seasons, then he worked his way into the top 60 closer to the end of spring training. And yeah, people have just forgotten about him to the point where like Bryce Terang is ranked higher than him on a lot of experts second baseman lists, which I don't understand. And then in third base, he's been buried too. I don't understand it. Uh, and I would buy him. You and I are actually going through trade negotiations at the moment where you have an offer out to me as a counter. It's your Jordan Westburg for my Chase Burns. And I don't know what to do because it's such a good offer. I'm trying to evaluate the needs of my team,
Yeah.
but that is a great offer for a team that might need hitting and a team that might need pitching, because I think Chase Burns is a breakout candidate for the second half or a sleeper, but he's not the name I'm going to pick here. But just to wrap up Jordan Westburg real quick, don't forget about a guy just because he was hurt for a little bit. And when he's been healthy, he's shown that what you thought was going to happen is happening.
Yeah.
Anyway,
He's who we thought he was all on, and also
Exactly.
second base. Second base sucks. So come on, like,
your favorite
with,
position, Josh.
get with the program.
If you have Bryce Terang and Jordan Westburg is on your wire, make the switch. I don't care if you're subbing power for, you're subbing out speed and you're subbing in power. Just make the switch. But I'm going to give my second half sleepers. I was contemplating Chase Burns just so we could have the discussion about the trade negotiations. If I had accepted it, we would have talked about that a lot today. But I'm still mulling it over, and the results of that you'll have to tune in next week for, because we'll talk about the results. So I have two pitchers listed here just to get some arms, to talk about some arms beyond the abysmal Sandy Alcantara. I've got Yuri Perez, and I think the breakout and the sleepiness is starting to wake up for the second half. Just like most players coming back from Tommy John surgery, he had a bumpy beginning to his return. But over his last like 3 starts, he's been phenomenal. The swing and miss is there. The fastball is elite. He's just got to locate the secondaries a little bit better. But Yuri Perez is showing why I said when he was coming back to go get him, because he has top of the line, top of the rotation upside. And I think you're starting to see that. And I think he'll only keep getting better in the second half. I mean, he's what, 23, maybe? So
You're very young.
20.
They're not going to trade him, are they?
Oh, I don't think they can.
Yeah.
I don't think you can trade somebody that young that you have under team control for so long.
Oh, yeah.
That,
Well, they should, because unfortunately, I think Edward Cabrera is injured. I don't know the severity.
Shocker.
And Sandy, Contra is broken. So
Yeah, Yuri's probably their best
not the
trade chip.
best returns. Actually, bad trade chips for the bad teams, like underperforming trade chips, like the White Sox with Luis Robert.
Oh, yep.
No one's doing themselves any favors with that.
You know what that should teach all these GMs? Trade them when you can.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
Not to get on a
so
rabbit hole.
So Yuri Perez, I think, is a sleeper for the second half. His roster rate, as I bring that up here on Yahoo, is 58%. So right around Roman Anthony. I don't understand that.
Wow, I want to go. I want to play in those leagues.
Right? I don't get it.
In our league, these guys have been unavailable for weeks, not months, not the whole season.
The whole season. Roman Anthony's been on a roster since the draft because I know you kept him in the 12-team league, and I
That's
know
right. Yeah,
he was drafted.
Picked him up last year.
Yeah, you picked him up last year in the 10-teamer too. And then Yuri Perez, I drafted in the 10-team league, and Todd kept him in the 12-team league. So he was a keeper, even coming off Tommy John surgery. It's like these guys.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done it, but to each their own.
Yeah, okay.
I think people are sleeping on Yuri. People are sleeping on Roman Anthony, and they're sleeping on Jordan Westbrook, obviously. And then the last name I'll bring up is somebody who I think is going way under the radar because much like Joe Adell, been there, done that several times with him. But I believe because he's in a slightly different role now that he has a chance to succeed, especially for that organization. And that is Reed Detmers. Reed Detmers, after a rocky start, we're talking like the first 2 weeks of the season, has had an ERA of like 1 all year. He's been elite when he's been in the game as a reliever. And I think he takes over for Kenley Jansen. But this comes with a giant asterisk, right? So I think he's going to be the closer. He might lead the Angels in saves the rest of the season. This, like I said, this comes with a giant asterisk. Are the Angels smart enough to trade Kenley Jansen? and that's the beginning and the end of it. Because if they're smart enough to do it, Reed Detmers is your closer, and there's a free closer out there waiting for you to pick up. But if they're not, then this is completely useless, and he's not a sleeper. He's a bust because he's useless in most leagues.
Is he their setup?
He's currently their setup guy. He's got 10 saves plus holds, I believe, right now. Not that many pitchers on that team get an opportunity to get a save plus or hold. But I think he's the closer in waiting there. He obviously didn't work out as a starter, but he's looking very good as a reliever. So I say Reed Detmers is your sleeper relief pitcher for the second half. But again, if the Angels are just not incompetent and trade Kenley Jansen.
I mean, I think that is the right choice. I don't trust the Angels to make the right choice. Even if they trade Jansen, I was like, are they going to put Detmers in the closer role? Or it's like if they need like a starting pitcher, are they going to announce like, oh, we're stretching Detmers out for some piggyback situation with Ken Chanowitz or whatever?
I wouldn't be surprised because they drafted a starter in the first round in the draft earlier this week. I would not be surprised if they call that guy up.
Maybe.
Because they really hurry their prospects up to the majors.
Yeah. That's because they have like no player development.
None. So at least so give them this much credit. Again, you can't see it. My fingers are really close together. Give them this much credit for at least recognizing that they don't and then promoting their prospects very quickly. But that wraps it up for our barrels, bombs, BS, and sleepers. And so just a quick recap. All right, so for your barrels, you had Cam Smith, Addison Barger, and Noelvi Marte, all at third base, 3 for third base. Love that. And I had Zach Neto as my barrel, players who have been great and will continue to be great. For your bombs, you had, no shocker here, Michael Harris. And I had Brenton Doyle and Sandy Alcantara, players who were bad and will continue to be bad. And then for BS, players whose performances were a mirage with regression incoming, good or bad. You had Jacob Wilson. I had a myriad of players, but we really chose to talk about Mookie Betts, Mackenzie Gore, and Joe Adell. Joe Adell in the negative direction, Mackenzie Gore in the negative direction, and Mookie Betts in the positive direction for regression. And then for our sleepers, you had Roman Anthony. Why is he available in 44% of leagues? Go pick him up. You had Jordan Westberg as well. Don't sleep on Jordan Westberg. Nothing has changed, okay? And then
he sucks. Like, come on, people. It's get with the program.
And I had Yuri Perez and Reed Detmers with a giant asterisk pending the competency of the Angels organization. But we're going to wrap it up right there. And I'm going to say to tune in next week to hear the results of Josh and I's trade negotiations, currently sitting at Chase Burns, my Chase Burns, for his Jordan Westberg. But we'll be back next week. Like I said, tune in for that. With 2 new episodes, a midweek minutes to get you caught up on all the most important news and notes from around the league, and of course, our feature-length episode as well. To make sure you never miss an episode, please subscribe. We're available wherever you get your podcasts. So for Josh, I'm Eric, saying, let's run down the stretch run.
Don't forget about Dylan Cruz.